All right. Well, it's right on 9 a.m. here in Melbourne and 6 a.m. in different places and the night before everywhere else. So welcome everybody who has joined us today. Thank you so much for deciding to spend the next couple of hours with us. We're going to make it well worth your while. And what I'd love to know first of all is I'd like to know where you're from and what you're expecting from today. So perhaps just put that in the chat. So we'll leave you muted so that the sound is clear for everybody. But if you could put in the chat as to where you're from and what you're expecting from today.
Hey, Tony. Good to see you, Tony. Tony from Tasmania.
Yay, that's easy.
Haven't seen Tony for a while. Good to see you, Tony.
Tony from Tasmania. Tony from Tassie.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
So let's just see, where's everyone from? Put in the chat. And what are you expecting from today? Because
that would be great.
Marcus is too massive believers of over delivering. We want to make sure that everyone's happy with the 2 hours that they're spending today. What are your expectations?
Type away, type away. All right. Just wait for that to come through.
Lou in Perth did my hypno last year, so great opportunity for a refresher to see I can use it. Okay. Yep. Plenty of people have done refreshers with this course. Melbourne, effective and efficient communication with clients. Okay. What else have we got? Where else are you from? What else are you expecting from today?
Penny.
Adelaide, counsellor, hoping to learn about hypnotherapy as a therapy. So yeah, hypnotherapy for counsellors, Penny, is just, it almost seems like a necessary part of your toolkit. It really does. It will just take you to the next level in terms of what you can actually achieve in the room. Tony is open-minded. That's the way to be.
Yeah.
Totally open-minded. Gary's from Singapore. Okay, awesome. Good. Just wait for any more to come through. All right. So we'll see them as they come up.
Yes.
And thank you so much once again for joining us, everybody. And in terms of what we're going to be doing the next couple of hours is that we will be talking about the wonderful transformational modality of hypnotherapy, which is my absolute passion. And whilst we're going to be talking about various techniques, there is something that we're going to do as a group activity too. So something you can use instantly. So we're going to go through a group activity today that you can instantly use with your clients today and instantly use for yourself as well. So we're going to go through all that. And right at the very end, we are also going to do a Q&A. So you can ask us anything you want about any questions that you feel were not answered or any questions that come up for you. So that will come up at the end. We will also be, of course, welcoming you to the HypnoFit family if you want to come along with us, because we do have a special offer today with our level 1 hypnotherapy course. So if you do want to continue along the journey with us, that's something that we are going to be offering at the end of the call, as well as a live Q&A. But we've got a lot of information to go through first. So if you find that there's any questions along the way, please make sure that you do write them down, because we will make sure that every single question is answered at the end of the call. So if you can, I know that some of you might not be able to, but if it is at all possible, we would really appreciate if you do put your camera on. And that's because it's far easier to speak to a face and present to a face rather than a name label. So I know some of you might not be able to, but if you can, put your camera on, that would be appreciated. Okay, so before we get started, so Jason and Mark and George, if you can, and Beatrice, if you can put your cameras on, that would be great. But in the meantime, before we get started, I've got this thing that I do, which is I do what's called a yay shot. And what a yay shot is making sure that, you know, that whatever we do, wherever we are, we're loud and proud of who we are and what we love so that people can connect with us. And so if you can put your camera on, what I'd love to do is take a photo of all of us. So if you can both put, everybody can put 2 hands up to do your yay shot. So 2 hands up, 2 hands up. I can only put 1 because I've got to do a screenshot. And let's go, yay! Yay! So what I'll be doing with that shot is putting it on my social media. And if you can tag yourself and let people know what you're interested in, who you are, what you do, because that's how we get out into the world and become loud and proud, and people understand who we are, and then they want to connect with us with the wonderful work that we are doing. So let's get started, everybody. Okay, let me share my pack with everyone. All right. Okay, so welcome to today, and Marcus is my co-presenter as well. And so, Marcus, you want to say hello?
Hello. Sorry. I can't tell you how many Zooms I do every day. And do you think I can find the microphone to unmute? I mean, just crazy. Anyway, good on the tech, you know. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm here now.
Awesome. Okay.
All right, looking forward to it.
Okay, so for those of you who are unaware, Marcus is the wellness futurist, and he is the CEO of Wellness Leadership Academy. And he has a whole heap of wellness practitioners under his wing, and he recognized, you know, the need for his practitioners to learn another powerful skill, which is the powerful transformational skill of hypnotherapy. But first, let's find out a little bit more about you guys. So with what's happened in the world, you know, last year with COVID and so on, it forced us all to stop for a moment, and more than a moment, and really have a look at where we are in our life and what's going on and where we want to be, and, you know, really look at the activities that we're doing and zero in on those activities and decide, is this what I want to be doing? So as an example, if COVID wasn't a thing, today I would be in Auckland. The only reason I know that is because yesterday afternoon, I got a phone call from my accommodation in Auckland saying, are you arriving here today? And it was like, I'm sure I cancelled because I booked all my accommodation literally 18 months before. And so all my trips to New Zealand and around Australia were already pre-booked. And I'm pretty sure that I cancelled, but obviously didn't cancel yesterday's event. And I said, no, I won't be attending. I'm not going to be there. So that's where I would be today. I'd be in Auckland. And if it wasn't for COVID, I wouldn't have the opportunity to partner up with Marcus and to be doing the wonderful stuff that we're doing together, where we are able to reach people from around the world. And so we were able to pivot our whole business model and offer something completely different that suits where we want to be. And if we hadn't had the opportunity of pausing for a moment, that wouldn't have happened, and we would have continued to be doing the same old, you know, and maybe not doing what we wanted to do, which was, for me, traveling a lot more than I wanted to be traveling. And so, you know, I count my blessings that I have had that opportunity to stop, to look, to see what am I doing and what do I prefer to be doing. So I'll just quickly, you know, let you know that for me, my mission has always been to create a world full of empowered souls, and for hypnotherapy to be mainstream and not alternative across the globe. And that's because I believe it is the most transformational modality that it is, in terms of really making, transformational changes to your clients very, very quickly. And I'm going to showcase as to how that happened. And so for the counselors and other wellness practitioners on this call, I'm not in for a moment saying hypnotherapy is better. It's just something that can just, accelerate your practice in a very, very, very powerful way. But first of all, I'd like to find out, what perspective has COVID-19 given you about your practice? And when I speak about COVID being a blessing, I don't for a moment say that I am not empathetic to the people that have been traumatized by this event, the people that have suffered through this event, the people that have passed from this event. Yes, it's been devastating for literally, thousands and thousands of people across the globe. And, I'm empathetic to all of that. But in terms of where we are at and how it's given you perspective, that's what we're interested in. So put in the chat as to what perspective has COVID-19 given you about your practice, no matter what your practice is, or your life even. It might even be your life. And Marcus, if you can read out what people are putting.
Will do. Absolutely. No problem at all.
What perspective?
As they come through.
Like for me personally, it's been about, I was traveling too much and I wanted to, change that, which I did, which I was able to reach more people across the globe by doing this.
Yeah, I think there's some interesting opportunities that have appeared, right, from this experience. And so many amazing things always happen when we have these challenging events, and amazing things can come from it. So I think that's right, Helen, that the ability to reach people all around the world, when before this, you and I both had the live event type of business where we traveled the world, which was great. But you can only reach so many people doing that. So, so it's kind of great. So Gary says, I took social contact for granted. Yeah, we can do that. Louise says, this space has been wonderful for me. Has been on JobKeeper, so I had time to learn new things like what we're talking about today. Gary, oddly, with face marks, I got the flu. Seriously, Tony, given the time to appreciate the people around me, to do things I normally wouldn't do. That's a great one. Thanks, Tony.
Yeah, and absolutely, Tony. It's given us, another sense of gratitude, and gratitude is so important in terms of bringing abundance into your life, because when you're not experiencing gratitude, you're in this lack mindset. And what it has done is, helped us be really grateful for everything that we do have, rather than striving for the next goal, striving for the next, acquisition that we need to make. How about we're just grateful for everything that we've got at this very moment? And then that puts us in an abundance mindset. And then what happens is things start to happen in our world and energy gets attracted to us. So, and with hypnotherapy, what the profession has found is that it's just as effective online as it is face-to-face. And this is a revelation even to me, who's been doing this for such a long period of time, that it is just as effective online as it is face-to-face, which means that the opportunities are endless for hypnotherapists. Okay, is there anything else before we move on, Marcus? Or
what else have we got here? I learned that everything is possible online, and how difficult it is for some people to adapt, but everything is possible online. Katie, thank you. What else? Simplify things. So Jason says simplify and slow down, which I think is great. And Penny says that I can run my whole business online and not have to travel around the region all the time. So, so that's cool. Yeah, there's some great, advantages and opportunities.
Yeah, fantastic. All right. So I'll give you a little brief history of my personal story. So my personal story is that I experienced the biggest challenge, well, one of the biggest challenges in my life about 25 years ago. To say it's the biggest challenge, it seemed like the biggest challenge back then, but since then I've had other challenges, because that's what happens. That's how we grow, is by having challenges. And in the late 90s, I was experiencing the condition, the symptoms of depression. And for anybody who has experienced depression, it is a feeling of feeling helpless, hopeless, and stuck. And a feeling that you are not in control of your own life, a feeling that the external world has a say, but you don't. Now we all know logically that's not the case. And we all know logically that at every moment we have a choice to make. But that is not how the subconscious mind works. The subconscious mind does not work on logic, it works on emotions. And where I was at was very much stuck. And that on the picture on the left is where I was in that space of feeling stuck, feeling like I had no choice, and feeling like other people were making the decisions for my life, and I wasn't able to do that for myself. And through the power of hypnotherapy, I was able to understand that I could make my own choices, and that I had the courage to go against the systems around me that helped me think that I was stuck. And once I became mentally strong and emotionally strong, I then decided that my body needed to reflect who I was on the inside. And that's when I went on this mission to become physically my best. And the picture on the right is in my 40s. I'm now in my 50s. And I was fitter in my 40s than I ever was in my 20s. And that's because through the power of the mind, I was able to, do all the things that I thought weren't possible. And as a result, I did. Here we go. I'll just show you this. I wrote this book called Mindset Dominance. And, what this book is all about using the power of the mind to become emotionally fit, mentally fit, and physically fit. Because physical fitness is just one aspect of the whole being. And in my mind, you need to be mentally strong, emotionally strong before you can then work on being physically strong. And that's the way that I did it for me. Subsequent to that, I became a hypnotherapist, and it didn't just happen that quickly. It wasn't as if I was depressed one moment and a speaker the next. So there really should be a slide in between those two slides which show the struggle and the challenges of creating a business and everything that went along with that. And of course,
there'd be quite a few slides, Helen, in between those two, I think. It's a journey, right?
There's some missing slides in there. And those missing slides are about doubt. They are about fears. They are about limiting beliefs. They are about overcoming things that other people say you can't do. And knowing inside you that you can, and proving to yourself that you can. And then, it's always 5 steps forward, 1 step back. And the way that I did it was that I kept my full-time employment, and I started to see clients on Saturdays in my home, in my lounge room, and Wednesday night and Thursday night after work. And, I recall at the very beginning when I was seeing clients in my lounge room, it was like, is this real? Like, do I need to pinch myself to see if this is real? Because I just made this business up. So, like, people are paying me to tell me their biggest challenges and biggest problems in my lounge room. Like, is this really real? And I've had so many pinch myself moments like that. And so what I did was, now this is really important, and I know, Gary, you've heard this part before from the other workshop, but it's worth listening to again, because I feel like it's key in terms of a mindset, in terms of a business mindset and a success mindset, which is the decision that I made right at the very, very beginning was that the circumstances in my life as they were, and the restrictions in my life as they were, could not interfere with my future plan and my future goal and where I wanted to go. Does that make sense, everyone? So where I was In other words, I was working for a business, somebody else's business, as a project manager for a full-time job, but I couldn't allow that full-time job to restrict me from getting new clients, because I knew where I wanted to go, and that was to have my own business. And so the rule was that if my current circumstances restricted me in some way from having future clients, then my current circumstances had to change somehow. So I wasn't going to negatively stop myself or allow obstructions to come in the way from where I wanted to go. So this is where I am right now. That's where I want to go. I need to make sure that nothing gets in the way of where I want to go. So at the point where I would lose clients because they couldn't fit into my inflexible schedule, because I could only see clients Saturdays, Wednesday night and Thursday night, then I needed to do something to change my current circumstances. So the very first time that I lost a client because they weren't prepared to wait 3 months' time to see me on a Saturday, I dropped Monday off my work schedule and then started to see clients Saturdays, Mondays, Wednesday night, Thursday night. Because at the bottom of all of this, I'm an economist by trade, so I wasn't prepared to forego income and therefore potentially lose my house because I had a large mortgage in case the business didn't work out. So I needed to make sure that what I did was a transition process, not I'm a hypnotherapist and okay, where are all the clients? So I had to transition from my business, working for someone else, to having my own business. But I did that as a transition. And once again, I had that rule. So if I ever lost clients because my current circumstances were too inflexible, I needed to do something about my current circumstances. And then I got rid of Tuesday. Now, it sounds easy when you say got rid of, but in fact, it was really hard to make the decision to actually let go of those days. It was really hard to have that conversation with my manager. It was, very difficult, but anything is possible. And that's what ended up happening, was that I went from a 5-day permanent job in corporate Australia, where I worked for 22 years, to a 4-day, to a 3-day, before I finally had the guts and the courage to resign. And then I made it my business to work as a hypnotherapist from my home. And things happened whereby the system that I was using through many, many different events meant that I started to train hypnotherapists in Australia and then New Zealand and then the United States. So I have presented in cities all around the world: Boston, Las Vegas, New York City, St. Louis, Chicago. And in fact, this is in Chicago. So I was the keynote speaker of the Mid-America Conference in Chicago, where, to my absolute surprise, I was awarded Hypnotist of the Year in 2018. And that's what that is over there. And that is, something that totally shocked me, because it was awarded by my peers. Hypnotists and hypnotherapists from around America chose me to be Hypnotist of the Year in 2018, which blew me away. I never expected it. I didn't even know I was in the running. And the dress that I'm wearing on that particular evening when I was presented this was the dress that I was presenting in during the day. I didn't even bother to change because I was so tired, because I was presenting during the day, and I thought, I'll just sit quietly at my dinner table during this gala dinner. I don't have to go and get dressed up. Didn't know that I had to give a speech and be awarded this Hypnotist of the Year award. And you can see the presenter who presented it to me on the left picture. He's actually emotional. So he actually burst into tears because he felt that I had done a lot for the profession, and I was being recognized for that. So it absolutely blew me away. So I guess that, what to take away from that for yourself is that when you are working silently by yourself behind a computer screen and you feel isolated and you feel alone, and you're doing newsletters and you don't know if anyone's reading them, and you're doing lives and you don't know if anyone's watching them, there's always somebody watching, and there's always somebody being impacted by the work that you do. Trust that is in fact the case. So this is in the Gold Coast where I do my live retreats. Now they're all virtual retreats that I do, but this is in the Gold Coast where I would have regular retreats where people would be trained in my HypnoFit system. And it really is the stuff that just, fulfills me in such an amazing way. Because what I love about this is that every single one of those people, I'm looking at those faces right now, and every single one of those people is impacting hundreds and thousands of people themselves. So that's what I love about this picture, is that I see those faces. I know those people really well because they're my people in my tribe, and every single one of them are leaders, influencers of their own caliber, and they're making a huge impact in the lives of the people around them. And so, why hypnotherapy? Why hypnotherapy? Well, the interesting thing is that hypnotherapy changed my life. And like I've said, I was chronically anxious and depressed, and hypnotherapy changed my life. But I didn't know that I was being hypnotized, because at the time when I did hypnotherapy back in the late 90s, it was illegal to say that you were doing hypnotherapy in the state of Victoria. So I went to a group which was run by a clinical psychologist, and he called it guided imagery. So we would go away 4 times a year to the Mornington Peninsula, and we would also have a class every week, and he called it guided imagery. But now I know it was actually hypnotherapy, and that's what it was. But he wasn't permitted to use the word hypnotherapy. Now, why hypnotherapy? Hypnotherapy is a technique whereby we are accessing the subconscious mind. It's safe, it's effective, it's transformational. There's no drugs, there's no medication. And what I love about hypnotherapy more than anything is that it's all about tapping into the wisdom of the individual. So it's not about the wisdom of the practitioner. The practitioner is skilled to allow the client to tap into their own wisdom. I'm just going to say that again because it's so important. It's not about the wisdom of the practitioner. It's not because I am a fabulous, wise person, because we all are. It's about helping everybody connect to their own magnificence. And that's where we are in the world at the moment. It's about helping people understand their own magnificence. It's not about helping a dependent relationship, a codependent relationship. It's about helping people awaken to their own magnificence, because every one of us is magnificent. Every one of us is unique, but we forget that because of our programming, because of the ego that goes in the way. So what hypnotherapy does is it helps you connect your client to their subconscious mind, which has all the wisdom in the world. So before we do that, I'm going to just play this video. And who Lisa is, she was one of my clients when I first started out. I want to make that clear. This is not Helen, the therapist, after she's been a keynote speaker, traveled around the world, and so on. This is when I first started, guys. So with the system that I've got, this is when I first started. And this is what Lisa had to say with her experience of hypnotherapy.
Hi, my name is Lisa. I just wanted to share a little bit of my story with you in the hopes of being able to help anyone out there that may be suffering the way I've suffered for most of my life. For as long as I can remember, I have not liked myself at all. I've struggled with relationships. I've struggled with most things in life, social interactions, how I feel about myself. The talk that I have in my head has always been negative, and continually reinforcing those feelings of just feeling like I'm not good enough, I'm not worth anything, I don't deserve anything, and that I will always live a life unfulfilled and unhappy. I've tried so many different therapies over the years, psychologists, social workers. I've talked to so many different people about my feelings and how I've been living my life and how unhappy I've been in my life. And none of it has worked. I would go and see a psychologist and talk through what might be happening in my life at that time. They listened, they may have given me a couple of tips on how to maybe cope with certain situations. I would have left there feeling great for that night, and then something would happen the next day and all the self-talk and all the negative feelings would just come back again, and I'd continue to live this life of feeling like really just like I hated myself and I hated who I was, and nothing that I did or said or whoever I spoke to, nothing made any sort of difference. And I honestly thought that that was my life and that was how I was going to be forever. And I was listening to the radio one day and the topic of discussion was about hypnotherapy. And a woman called in and said that her specialty was dealing with people like me that have struggled their whole lives with self-esteem issues, depression, anxiety, all of those types of things, and that she believed that she could help people like me. And I actually phoned the radio station and got her number, and I thought, I'm going to give this a go. There was something in what she said that resonated with me, and I thought to myself, I have tried everything else that I can possibly think of and nothing has worked, and I just didn't want to continue living the way that I had been living. So I phoned Helen and I made an appointment, and I came and saw her, and I was nervous and afraid and unsure whether this would even work. I had doubts about it, but I figured it was worth a shot. If there was even the smallest chance that something could change in me, that it was worth it, because I just couldn't handle living the way I've been living my whole life. And I've been seeing Helen every week for a few months now, and I'm now at the end of my journey with her, and it has taken a long time, and it's taken a lot of confronting sessions with Helen. It's been a lot of hard work. It's been a lot of really being conscious about the way that I think and the thoughts that I have, and physically doing things to try and stop and change and turn it around, the way that I think in my head and the thoughts that I have about myself. And it hasn't been easy, but I can honestly say that now that I'm at the end of this, I have never felt better in my life than I do right now. I never thought that I would feel happy within myself or confident that I can make my life the way that I want it to be, and filled with happiness and positivity, and have good, strong, healthy relationships. And whilst I'm not 100% all the way there, I am confident that I can leave here today and I have the tools that I can continue to grow in the way that I've grown with Helen. And it's just been the most incredible thing that I've ever done for myself. And anyone that's watching this that can relate to what I've said and my story, I cannot encourage you enough to just take that first step and give it a go and commit to it. And even though you might feel unsure, you might have doubts, it is so worth the journey and the hard work that you put in. It is absolutely worth every single second that you do it. Thank you.
So just a couple of things that, are interesting. She says it's taken a long time. The program that I had with Lisa was a 12-week program. how long is it really? Because she had been going to psychiatrists, psychologists, and counselors for years. Okay. So in her mind, it was a long time. But, you know, when you look at it in terms of the whole perspective of it, it was 3 months. Okay. That's all it was. So in terms of where she was, which was hating herself, that's the word that she used, hating herself. And in fact, when she came to see me, the word that she used was, because she thought so many people hated her, she must be evil. That's what she thought she was. So she's gone from that space to a completely different space. When she first came to see me, she had a very traumatic background. And the only reason, and she has given me permission to say this, the only reason that she did not end her life was because she had a cat, and she was very concerned about the welfare of her cat as to who would look after the cat. And so that's why she did not end her life. At the point that she came to see me, she was absolutely desperate. She had been everywhere. She had done everything. And in a matter of 12 weeks, her whole life was transformed to the point where big events that happened after the program, she was able to handle them. So it was just, it's just one example of many, many phenomenal examples. If you go onto my HypnoFit, to my Helen Mitas YouTube account under HypnoFit, so it's Helen Mitas YouTube under HypnoFit, there's many, many, many stories like Lisa's there. And it's because she connected to her own inner wisdom. It doesn't matter what I would have said to her. It doesn't matter if you say to somebody, oh, you are worthy. Oh, you do matter. You are significant. Don't listen to what other people say to you. That has no impact on someone. The only impact is what they understand is their own wisdom. They have to come to that conclusion. They have to go deep inside and connect and understand that they are amazing and they are beautiful and that they are incredible. And the things that have happened in their life is not because there's something wrong with them. There was never anything wrong with them. There was never anything wrong with Lisa. It was a program that she accepted that was given to her by society, that she wasn't good enough and that she wasn't okay. And that is the power of hypnotherapy. Is all we do as hypnotherapists is we have the techniques to remove the blocks and to connect clients with their own inner wisdom. So I'd like to give you another example. This is, this lady's name is Christine Stowe. And she was, before she came to see me, she was seeing a counsellor. And now, I don't want to, for a moment, denigrate counsellors or psychologists. Everybody has a place and everybody helps their clients in their way. Okay, so I am not for a moment denigrating the magnificent work that we all do in our modality. All I'm saying is that in some instances, for deep transformational shifts to happen at the subconscious level, there's something else that's required. And so Christine was seeing her counsellor because her husband had left her. But she came to a point where she realised that she needed to move on. Now, Christine has a daughter she has 2 daughters, but one of her daughters is Imogen. Imogen is severely disabled to the point that she has feeding tubes, severely disabled to the point that in order for Christine to have respite, there are only a few people in the state of Victoria that can step in for her to look after her daughter, because you have to be qualified to understand how to look after her. So she said to her counsellor, okay, I'm ready to get a job. And her counsellor said to her, you can't get a job, you're a carer. So these are her words. She actually put these words on social media. She said, thank you. She walked out thinking, I'm going to find someone who believes I can and not someone who tells me that I can't. And she said, that's when I found Helen Mitas. And so this is how, following her program with me and the system that I use, this is what happened with Christine. She wrote a book. Her book was called Not Just Imogen's Mother. And that's Imogen, that's her daughter, who I believe is about 19 years old now. And that's Imogen. She completed her MBA. She stood in a federal and state election. She was elected to council. She set up a special school, a cafe for people with disabilities and support groups for carers and domestic violence victims. And last year during COVID, she decided that she wanted to learn the program that changed her life. She's now a hypnotherapist. And she learned, she's now a hypnotherapist and she's a certified HypnoFit practitioner. So she's gone full circle. So in terms of the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, many of you would have seen this before, the iceberg analogy. And it's an old analogy, but it's, you know, sometimes the oldest analogies are the best analogies because it really does showcase how the subconscious mind works. And what appears at the very top of the iceberg is the conscious mind, which is about 10% of our mind. It's our critical thinking mind. It's our logical thinking mind, short-term memory. It's where willpower is involved. And that's why usually when you go on a diet, it lasts for about 2 weeks. That's the average. So the average diet lasts for about 2 weeks. And that's because that's as long as willpower takes you. It takes you 14 days. It doesn't mean you're weak. It just means that that's the way the conscious mind works, is that it lasts for about 2 weeks. At the subconscious level, we have our beliefs. And that's the belief that I was talking about with Lisa. I'm not good enough. I must be evil. I hate myself. I hate myself because other people hate me, so I must be bad. That's where we become creative. That's where all our emotions and our feelings are kept. That's where all our habits and addictions are. That's where our intuition is. That's where our long-term memory is. That's where our values are. And so the subconscious mind takes up 90%. So it's not about what we think, it's about what we feel. And what we feel is paramount. And that's why when I, do mentoring with my hypnotherapists, I'm always connecting to the subconscious mind with them when I'm mentoring them to be the best hypnotherapist they can be, because that is where it's at. That is where it's at. Anybody can say, I can learn step 1 to 10, and you can find it on the internet. You can Google it. But to change the way you think and to change your mindset at the subconscious level, that's going to impact your whole life and how you navigate your life and what's going on for you at that point in time. Does that make sense? Does that make sense, everybody? So it's not what you think, it's what you feel. Now, if it was about what we think and what we know, we wouldn't have a situation where 69% of our general practitioners, i.e. doctors, medical doctors, are overweight or obese. The reason that they're overweight and obese is not because they don't know what to do. In fact, our clients that come to HypnoFit, our overweight clients, they are diet experts. They know exactly what to do. They know what to do. They know what to eat. They know what to do. We're not giving them any information that they don't already know. That's not it at all. I mean, they've read more than, the experts have read about how to lose weight. But why aren't they losing it? Because of their beliefs, because of their habits, and that's all at the subconscious level. And that's why hypnotherapy is so powerful and so transformational. And so here is some, excuse me for a moment, I'll just have a glass of water. Here are some, these are just some, this is not an exhaustive list. This is just some that I've listed here in terms of powerful hypnosis techniques. So we've got regression to cause. So what is that? I'll give you an example. I think that's the best way of demonstrating that. So we are displaying symptoms in our lives about things that we feel are out of control. It could be that we're drinking too much, eating too much, we're feeling angry, we're feeling depressed, and so on. But what is the cause of that? What is the cause of that? Now, this is my opinion. I know many people think, as an example, depression. There are the symptoms of depression, and people say, well, it's just a chemical imbalance. Now, there's a big discussion about that, but my view is, and this is from someone who has suffered from depression and has helped thousands of people with the symptoms of depression, the body is a chemical factory and is simply displaying what's going on underneath. And there is always a cause. There is always a cause. So even when people go to their doctor, go on antidepressants, and the doctor says, oh, it's a chemical imbalance, but they're not aware of the cause, hypnotherapy always uncovers the cause. I have never not had, in the thousands of clients that I've seen, in the thousands of hypnotherapists that I've trained, and I've trained now 3,000 hypnotherapists from across the globe, there's never been a situation where there's not a reason for the depression. There is always a reason. It's just that it's not apparent consciously. So what hypnotherapy does is it goes back to cause. It goes back to it. I'll give you a very simple example, which is not depression. So I had a client come to us for claustrophobia. He didn't know why. He didn't know why he suffered from claustrophobia. He just knew that if he was in a lift or a confined space, he started to hyperventilate and he couldn't breathe. Now, any kind of discussion we were having on the conscious level wasn't getting us anywhere. And so we don't even bother having that kind of discussion because that's not where the answers are. Put him in the chair, hypnotize him, and very quickly we found what the cause was. It led to an event when he was young, when he was visiting his cousin's place, and they were all mucking around, and there was a beanbag, and his cousins all jumped on top of him, and he couldn't breathe. So that event, which he had forgotten about consciously, because it was just a moment in time, he had forgotten about it consciously, was the reason as to why he couldn't breathe in a confined space many years later. I've helped AFL footballers who are in the A-League with anger management issues that led back to the school ground in primary school. So they're astounded. Oh my God, how can such a tiny little event impact the rest of your life? But it can. Never underestimate the power of an event in your life. So that's what regression to cause is. We find out what the cause is through hypnosis, through the power of the subconscious mind. Inner child work. Inner child work is when we take the client back to their inner child so that they have a relationship with their inner child. So their inner child is their innocent child, the child that was not responsible for the mistakes that they made as adults. And they connect back to that child because, as an example, Lisa, she hated herself so much, but she needed to connect back to that little girl who was traumatized by her mother, the little girl who had a psychopath as her mother, a diagnosed psychopath, who would lock her up in the car overnight as punishment for being bad in the driveway. That's what her mother did to her. And she's grown up with this feeling of such self-hate because I must be bad. I'm so bad that my mother locked me up in the car overnight and I wasn't allowed to stay in the house as punishment. So connecting her back to that child, the child within, and loving the child within and connecting her and being there for her. So the adult Lisa is there for the baby Lisa and the child Lisa and doesn't let her down and supports her and has her back and becomes her biggest cheerleader. And that's the work that we do in hypnotherapy, which is so powerful. there's past lives. Now, you know, it doesn't matter what your opinion is about past lives. It doesn't matter whether you think they're real or not. That's irrelevant. The way that we teach it is that if there is an emotion that the client believes arises from a past life, then it needs to be dealt with. It's irrelevant whether it's real or it's fantasy, because the subconscious mind believes that anything in the subconscious mind, anything that it imagines is real. So the subconscious mind does not differentiate between reality and fantasy. So just say that again. The subconscious mind does not differentiate between reality and fantasy. And so therefore, if it has a picture there, then that emotion needs to be dealt with. And so we may need to go to a past life. And that past life will give valuable lessons to the client about where they are today. Parts therapy is where, you know, when you hear many people say, oh, there's a part of me that wants to lose weight, but there's another part of me that just wants to eat that chocolate. Who doesn't relate to that? I know I do. I don't know why it was, but as soon as lockdown 3 was announced in Melbourne, why I needed to go and buy some chocolate from Safeway. But it was my go-to. And I did. And there was a part of me that went, Helen, do you really need that chocolate right now? And there was another part of me that went, yeah, I do. and so we have different parts of us that are almost in, you know, battling, and it's always this battle. And the interesting thing is that we identify these parts as good and bad, but they're not. They are all working for our highest good. They are all working to protect us. And what hypnotherapy does, it helps a client understand and be really compassionate to the part that wanted to eat that chocolate. Really be loving to the part that, you know, has made those choices, because it is operating for its highest good. And that's what we do with parts therapy and hypnotherapy. Guided imagery is where we take a client on a journey, but we don't actually know what's going to come up for the client. We take them on the journey. We take them on a journey, and it might be on a beach, it might be in a forest, but we don't know what's going to present itself. And the client's subconscious mind comes up with the story that needs to appear so that they can heal. Neuro-linguistic programming, otherwise known as the acronym of NLP, is using the power of language to transform and to heal. Visualization, you know, otherwise known as mental training. You know, all professional athletes use mental training as part of their training regime. It's an absolute must. Self-hypnosis, as an example, when I went and got crowns put into my teeth, I didn't have any injections because there was no need to. I just put myself into hypnosis. And it's very, very powerful to help your clients hypnotize themselves. So if you've got a client who's experiencing pain, it's a powerful technique to show clients how to deal with pain. Because hypnotherapy, if you don't already know this, was the first anesthetic. So before anesthetic was invented, hypnotherapy was used by doctors in surgery. That's how it all came about. So it's extremely, extremely powerful. So at the end of all this, you know, remember we are going to have a live Q&A where everybody can ask whatever questions that you would like. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do an exercise, okay? Let me stop the screen for a moment so that I can see you guys. Good to see everybody. So we've got more people on. So before we do this exercise, because we've got more people on, can everybody put on their camera? Can everyone, hey, Deborah, I haven't seen you for ages. I missed you, Deborah. I haven't seen you for such a long time. Can everyone put on their camera, because we've got more people on, because I've only just been able to see you now that I've taken the slide pack off, and we need to do another yay shot because we need to be loud and proud of shining the light to the people that we are shining the light to. Okay, turn on your camera. Let's do a quick yay shot, everybody. Come on. So let me do that again. So 2 hands up. I can only do 1 hand up. So 1, yay, smiley face. Yay. All right. So I'm going to teach you a very easy and very simple and very powerful NLP technique. Are you ready? You ready? Very simple. Now, this is the wonder of hypnotherapy. This is just one technique of many, 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 many techniques that you can use for yourself and for your clients. Okay. So I'm going to teach you the NLP technique of anchoring. Anchoring. So when you think about an anchor, and you think about the anchor that belongs to a ship, what does it do? It anchors to a certain place so that no matter what winds are happening around it, no matter what gale force winds, it's actually anchored to that spot. Does that make sense? So what we're going to do is I'm going to teach you a technique of how you can anchor to a particular state of mind. So that means in an instant, you can change the state of your mind and you can change the state of your client. Now, why do we need anchoring? There's many reasons. In hypnotherapy, we might use anchoring to create a safe space for a client so that when they feel that something is becoming a bit overwhelming and a bit sad, they actually anchor back to feeling safe. Does that make sense? So they have a safe space that they feel that they can anchor back into. So another reason that we would use anchoring is, for instance, with smokers, as an example, we give them a relaxing anchor because they have this belief, which of course is incorrect. They have a belief, and again, we deal with the beliefs when we help them stop smoking. They have a belief that smoking relaxes them, when we all know, of course, that it doesn't. In fact, the chemicals and everything everything in a cigarette, what happens medically is it stimulates them. It doesn't relax them at all. But it's the action of having a cigarette that relaxes them. It's the fact that they believe that a cigarette will relax them, that they feel that they're going to be relaxed. But what it actually does to the physical body is stimulate them. And it gives them heart palpitations. But their mind is saying, oh, this cigarette is relaxing me. But what is actually relaxing them is the deep breathing and the belief that they will be relaxed. Does that make sense? Okay. So sportsmen use anchors all the time. So let's think of a sportsman that we would all probably know very well. And he was commentating on the Oz Open just the other day. Of course, our very own Leighton Hewitt. Who knows what Leighton's anchor used to be when he used to play tennis? So whenever he was in a spot where he needed to give himself power, what did he do? Come on! Okay? So by doing this, if you don't know Leighton Hewitt, if you Google him and you see him when he used to play, if he was in a state that he needed to give himself power and he needed to give himself the belief, this is who I am this, I'm this winner, he would like, come on. Now, I've seen him play live many times and he's gone from a state of just about to lose to turning the whole game around, because he keeps using his anchor, and he doesn't ever not use his anchor when he needs it, because that anchor puts him in a space. Now, everybody's anchor is different. Everyone's anchor is different. Does anybody here on this call have an anchor that they use that empowers them? Put your hand up if you do. Does anybody have an anchor? Gary, what's your anchor? If you wanted to unmute yourself, what's your anchor?
I must not fear. Fear is a mind killer. Fear is a little death that brings total obliteration.
Is that, yeah, but what movement do you have that goes along with that?
I just stay completely still.
Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to make that anchor even more powerful by bringing some sort of a movement with it, so that there's some sort of movement in the body with it. Okay, does that make sense? There's something you're going to do that is actually going to put energy into the body. Does somebody else have an anchor that they use? Who put their hand up before? I think it was Louise. Yeah, what was yours?
It's not actually really physical, but when I'm cycling and I'm going through those narrow bars, you know, when they do a go slow on the walkway kind of thing when you're cycling, and they make it really narrow, and it's your handlebars only just get through. Every time I go through that, I go back to Star Wars, and it's like, feel the force, Luke, feel the force.
Awesome. I love it. I love it.
Steady.
I love it. And you know what? It might sound funny, but that has given you what you need, because what we are able to do is what we think we can do is only a tiniest part of what we can actually do. Does that make sense? We can do so much more than we think we can do. So much more than we think we can do. And when we put that anchor in, that energy, that force, you know, another example of an anchor is, you know, can anybody relate to listening to a song and then the song has taken you back to a place? It's taking you back to a particular event. Beatrice, you're nodding furiously there. Have you got a song that you can share? What's your song that takes you back somewhere?
Gee, I have too many.
Just say one. What's one?
I don't know. I just like, I think that I think that my anchor is more physical, even though I listen to a song and then I go like, yes.
Yay. Awesome. And it takes you back. There's a feeling that it gives to you, isn't there?
Yeah, it's fulfillment. Yeah, I can do it. And
yeah, I can do it. I can do it. And
everything is fine. Everything is
fine. Everything is okay. It's all good. It's all good. Okay, so are you ready to create a new anchor?
Yes.
Is everybody ready? So we all know the reasons as to why. I'll just reiterate the reasons as to why we would have anchor. It's to take us back to a state of mind. So it's to take us back to feeling a certain state. So when you think about physiology, our physiology impacts everything. So if you have in your mind what a depressed person looks like and how they carry themselves, do you have an image in your mind of what a depressed person would look like? Downcast, eyes averted, closed. That's the image that you get, okay? But when you sit back, so what I want everyone to do now is just to stand up. Stand up. That's the way, stand up. And shoulders back, shoulders back. Now your legs need to be not crossed over. They need to be firm on the ground, straight. Now this is a power position. This is a power position. If you cross your legs, it's not power. But you have your hands back, your shoulders back, and feel yourself feeling powerful in that spot. Just feel yourself feeling powerful. Now, this is what I want you to do. As you're standing there, I want you to close your eyes and I want you to touch your knuckle. Doesn't matter, whichever one you choose to touch. And I want you to remember a time when you were feeling really confident. I want you to see it, feel it, hear it. Remember a specific time that you were feeling really confident. See what was going on around you. Feel what was going on around you. Hear what was going on around you when you're feeling really confident. You knew it. You could do it. You could do it. You absolutely could do it. Okay, now open your eyes and let go of that anchor. Good, good. Now we're going to do that again. We're going to do it again. Okay, but this time we're going to have different events that are going to come up for us. Different events that are going to come up for us. Every time we do it, we're going to stack that anchor with positivity. We're going to touch the same knuckle. Remember, when you open your eyes, you've got to let go of the anchor. You've got to let go of the anchor. Okay. When you open your eyes, you have to let go of the anchor because the intensity is gone. So you only keep your hand on the knuckle whilst the intensity of the moment is there. Okay. As soon as the intensity is gone, you remove it. Does that make sense? You only put your hand on the knuckle. What we're doing is we're creating a knuckle anchor. We're creating an anchor on your knuckle. I'm gonna get you to close your eyes in a moment. And when I get you to close your eyes, you only touch your knuckle when the scene comes into your mind. You don't touch it before the scene comes into your mind. Does that make sense? You have to feel it. You have to feel it. Okay. So let's do that again. I'm going to just go through the steps. I'm going to say, close your eyes. I'm going to ask you to imagine something. When the intensity comes up, then touch your anchor and you keep it there for at least 3 seconds. Then you remove it. So here we go. Let's do it again in your power stance with your legs separated, shoulders back. Nice big breath in, close your eyes. Now I want you to remember a time when you didn't think that you could do it, but you did it. You did it. Now I want you to see it, feel it, imagine it, know it, hear everything that went around you. And now when that intensity comes up, touch your knuckle, see what you saw, hear what you heard, feel what you felt. See what you saw, feel what you felt, hear what you heard. Notice how good that feels. And then when that intensity is gone, release the anchor and open your eyes. Okay, we're going to stack it. We've got to do it 4 times at least with 4 different events. 4 times at least, 4 different events. Okay, so just to reiterate, power stance, shoulders back, making sure that your legs are grounded. Now that's a really good tip if you're ever presenting. You never present with your legs crossed over. You never present with your legs like this. You always present straight. You're grounded, shoulders back. Okay, now don't touch your knuckle until you feel the intensity. So ready? Here we go. Close your eyes. Now I want you to imagine a time that if you could replay that moment in your life, because it was the best moment in your life, you would replay it right now. So let's replay that moment. See what you saw, hear what you heard, feel what you felt. Replay that moment. When the intensity comes up, really firmly touch that knuckle, really firmly touch that knuckle, really press against it. See what you saw, hear what you heard, feel what you felt. It was the most amazing, euphoric moment. You felt so good, so good, so good. Felt so good. And when you're ready, just come back to now and then open your eyes, standing back. We're going to do it one more time, guys. One more time. One more time. We're stacking positivity. We're stacking it, stacking it, stacking it. So we're putting more on. Now, remember, you're muted. You're muted. Yeah, Gary's got the idea. You're all muted. So use your voice. Nobody can hear your voice. This is your voice. Use it, okay? So use something powerful coming out of it, okay? I'm gonna be using my voice this time. So this time, I want you to close your eyes and I want you to take yourself back to a time when you felt so confident, so empowered, where you really knew that you can do it if you put your mind to it. Take yourself back to a specific event. See what you saw, hear what you heard, feel what you felt, feel the intensity, touch that anchor and really feel it and just go, yes, 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 yes. And then when you're ready, remove it. I think I sounded like that, what's her name, in that movie.
I don't know, but I love you getting into it, Helen. It's great.
So now what we're going to do, guys, we're going to
Thelma and Louise.
No, what's her name? Meg Ryan in, when she was having that moment. She was saying, yes, yes, yes.
When
Yeah, when
Harry
Harry
met
met
Sally.
Sally. Yeah, that's right. When
That's the
Harry
one.
met Sally.
That's the one. Okay, so we're going to test it now. You're going to have to get back up one more time, okay? Because we have every technique that we do in hypnotherapy, we test, okay? Even when we take people back to an event and we release the emotion, we have to test it. We can't just assume it's gone. So we need to test it. So now what I want you to do is when I count to 3, you're going to close your eyes, you're going to press your anchor and notice how you feel. So 1, 2, 3. Stand back, shoulders back, press that anchor and notice how you feel. How was it, everybody? How was that? So now this is the trick, guys, and this is what you would say to clients, okay? So you can change your state in an instant. You can change your state in an instant. This is what you say with anchors. With anchors, this is something that it's like a recharge card. When you're in the moment and feeling really good, power it up. Touch your anchor, power it up. And then when you need it, you use it. So I had a client who I gave a calm and confident anchor to, who was a smoker. And, you know, what I do with smokers is every hour on the hour for the first 3 days, they need to touch their anchor and do 10 deep breaths at the same time. And I bumped into him years later. His name is Paul. And he said to me, Helen, I'm still using my anchor. He's not using it because he wants a cigarette. He doesn't want a cigarette. He uses it in meetings. He uses it when he has to present. He uses it when he wants to feel powerful. So nobody knows what's going on underneath. We don't all have to do the Leighton Hewitt. Come on. We can do something that is happening underneath the desk. No one knows. No one knows what's going on. So, you know, that feeling of that anchor is something that you can teach your clients really easy and really powerful. And so you can see that is a NLP technique that no matter what you're doing, no matter what kind of therapist you are, and it could be that you're a counselor, it could be that you're a kinesiologist, it could be that you're a chiropractor, it doesn't matter. These are techniques that you help your clients. And that's what hypnotherapy does. It gives you the edge of giving your clients extra assistance because you're connecting them to their inner power and their inner wisdom. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to just tell you a little bit about what we're offering, and then we're going to open it up to live Q&A. Okay, so what I am offering here, this is level 1. So this is level 1 hypnotherapy. So this is level 1 hypnotherapy in NLP. This is for people who don't know how to hypnotize. And this is a certified level 1 hypnotherapy in NLP. The reason why I developed this was because there was a need that I found with people who needed to be able to hypnotize. So they needed to learn how to hypnotize. So how this is different to other level 1 certifications is that this certification is very practical, very, very practical. It's stuff that you're going to use immediately. And it is certified by the Australian Hypnotherapists Association as well. So there's a level 1 online retreat, which is a 3-day retreat. So it is going to be here online. You will get a manual and templates. You will have community support. So you will have your own Facebook group where you will get your support, and you will get certification. Okay, so this is some of the headings that we're going to do during the level 1 certification. How to hypnotize. I can't get over how many people have done hypnotherapy courses, and when I hear them practice, they have this voice that's all wrong. They don't know about tone. They don't know about tonality. They don't know about, you know, there is such a thing as a therapist's voice. So we teach you how to have your therapist's voice. We teach you how to do suggestibility tests. We teach you how to use metaphors, which are extremely powerful. So what metaphors are stories. So people don't even need to know that you're actually using the power of hypnosis. You could be in the middle of your session doing kinesiology and you say a metaphor, and that metaphor is life-changing and transformational. We teach you how to do a group relaxation induction, how to do powerful visualizations, and how to use scripts for weight loss, smoking cessation, performance enhancement, stress, and pain control. We're going to also teach you, so I've already just then gone through one technique, just one technique, which is the NLP technique of anchoring. There's way more techniques than that. We've got rapport building. How do you build rapport? Now that's really important in terms of attracting clients to your client base. How do you build rapport? By matching and mirroring. How do you do that? How do you use your physiology, your words, your tonality in terms of communication? How do you work with your client's form of communication? So for instance, how do you match your client's form of communication? How to change states with anchors. So we have a 3-day interactive virtual workshop where you will be getting your level 1 book as well. You will be getting your community support, which is your level 1 Facebook group, which you will have access to forever. And it is valued at $2,997. So it's extremely at a low price. It really is so low that this is the last time. And I'm not just saying it for those of you who know me. My number 1 value is integrity. This is never going to be $697 again. Like it's just never going to be $697. This is the very, very last time. So $297 times 3 or $697 upfront. For anybody who books today, we're giving you a $100 discount voucher. So it's $597 for 3 days. So normally $697 and today it's $597. So this is level 1 certification. So basically there it is there. So copy and paste it. That's the link. That link is only going to be available today. Okay.
I just put the link in the chat bar too.
Yeah. So all you're going to do is click through, and that will give you the $100 discount already. Tomorrow, that $100 discount will be disabled, but you can still book at the $697 tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow, a different link will be available. This is the only one that's available for today. So it is about taking your clients to the next level with hypnotherapy techniques. And then you can decide whether you want to continue or not. It's up to you. So this is what... the last retreat.
Helen, before you go on, sorry, what were the dates? Let's have a look. I think I've got them in here.
Oh, did we not put the dates?
Just on the last slide, but I'll type them here. 27th of February, 1st of March, 5th of June to 7th of June on that last slide. So that's right. I'll put them in the chat bar.
Okay, so yeah, level 1. So you have got to get 27th of February. 27th of February is 27th of February for 3 days, and 5th to 7th of June is the second one.
Yeah, and that's an and/or. There's not 6 days. It's either the February or the June.
Yeah,
I'll just put it in there.
And/or, okay. So we'll just take you through to what a couple of people said, and then we'll open up for questions. Oops. Why is this so?
Love technology sometimes.
Here we go.
One of the most enjoyable ever, systems that I've done, or workshops, or whatever we want to call it, that I've done, as well as the learning.
Thank you. And just a moment ago, you said it about the practical aspect of it. What did you like about that?
I liked that it was straight to the point, and there was no I'm putting up lecturers wanting to tell me about their own lives and to buy their own books, and I've done this and I've done that. That was over there. This was straight to the point. This was not about you guys. It was about, if there was references, it was something that was valid and relevant to it, not just I do this because I'm so good and you minions will take notice, which just beyond that stuff. So this was very practical, straight down to earth, no mucking around. This would have taken probably 5 days with half of those monkeys.
Great example of applied learning, I think, is what you're saying.
Thank you.
Thank you for the translation, Louise. Thank you, Craig. Yeah, what did you want to say about it?
Sorry, me? Yeah. Oh, look, for me, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the company and openness and sincerity and no judgment. And I think we all felt, from how I was feeling, that we were open to ask anything, and there was just no judgment. And you two were so supportive, but like respecting people, because it's adult learning, so we're not kids. And it's just, the information was spot on, and it was just building on, everything was just flowing really well. And we were just, theory and practice, and why and how you put it in. So I've learned a lot, so that I'll be able to implement this straight away. Excellent. So thank you so much, and everybody. It's just been such pleasure to be with you, and I hope we stay in touch.
Yeah, absolutely. Mana, did you have anything to say?
Yeah, amazing people, amazing teachers. How much is it to come back the third time?
Because Mana repeated it.
Okay, great. Book me in. Look, all the above. I love the way it's practical, and I'm glad it wasn't death by PowerPoint, because I've done a lot of courses. So this is a total opposite.
Awesome, thank you. Virginia, did you have anything to say?
I echo everybody's feelings, and I've done a lot of trainings too, and sometimes at the end of it, I get all excited and it's going to be so great, and at the end of it, I feel like I just got swindled. They just wanted my money, and I don't have a whiff of that here. And I feel like you said, this is just the beginning. When you said that, my whole body went, yes. This isn't the end. It's giving me more hope, and we live in unusual times, and I think certain people are being called to step up to help with that process. And this gives me a practical and hopeful way to do that. So thank you both, and all you others too. I love being with all you Australians. It was awesome.
We love having you here, and we're honoured that you stood up for us. We really are honoured.
Yeah.
Anna Louise, did you have anything?
No, probably I agree with everything that everyone said, and yeah, I think that is it's about being able to apply what you're learning is really important.
And doing that sooner rather than later is going to make all the difference.
Yeah.
Beck, did you have anything?
Just an echo of what most people have already said, but also the continuing ongoing support that's available as well.
Wasim, did you have anything to say?
Practical, efficient, straight to the point, minimal commercialization, great company of everybody.
Okay. Just in terms of, before we go to live Q&A, I just wanted to say how different every single one of those people were who actually talked from that live retreat. So Wasim was a psychologist who wanted to learn hypnotherapy. Yelka was an experienced hypnotherapist who wanted a refresher, and she's since done my advanced training as well. Louise was someone who had come through the HypnoFit system as a client, was so transformed with it that she wanted to learn it as a hypnotherapist. Craig was brand new. He was a counsellor, but he'd never done hypnotherapy before. So all of them were completely different. Interestingly, Virginia from the United States Okay, Virginia from the United States. She has just sent me this amazing letter literally 2 days ago. I wish I could share it with you. She contracted straight after, she then did my advanced training as well. She contracted COVID and it actually knocked her off her feet for 2 months. So for 2 months, she was not able, she was a very busy person before then. She was not able to do anything. And she said because of the training that she had and because of the fact that they worked on each other, she's fine and she has a completely different mindset, and she would have had a different mindset had she not had the training and contracted COVID, if that made sense. So the way that she navigated the event of contracting COVID completely changed, everything for her. So just show you one more thing and then we'll go to Q&A.
Just completed HypnoFit's Level 1 Clinical Hypnotherapy course. It was a 3-day virtual workshop with foundations of hypnotherapy were taught in a really engaging and interactive way. The highlight for me was definitely conducting the hypnosis on fellow participants. We did this in private Zoom rooms and it worked amazing. It was a private space where we could really put all the practice we had learnt straight into action, and the results were amazing. Our teachers were Helen and Bridget, and they're a team of highly professional and passionate women, and that passion really flowed through in their teachings. I left every single day feeling enthusiastic and uplifted and excited for the next day of learnings. The private Facebook page that HypnoFit set up has also been a really super helpful source for completing any questions related to our assessment or interacting with the other participants. And the handbook was also a really useful resource that I referred back on a lot for the assessment, and also just to refresh all of our learnings. I would no doubt encourage anyone that has a keen interest in hypnotherapy, that wants to learn more about the foundations of it, whether it's just a curiosity about hypnotherapy or it's the first step in your career, to get in contact with HypnoFit and undertake this amazing course. Thank you.
Okay, so let's open it up. Let me just stop the share. All right, so that's what we're offering today. I hope that's been valuable, so you have an understanding of what hypnotherapy is, and you've taken away a technique that you can use straight away, and it's giving you a different perspective in terms of everything else that's going on. So actually, before we do Q&A, Marcus, is there something you wanted to add?
No, all good. I think, it's so important now that we have these sort of skills so that we can continue to do our business online if we need to, as well as make difference in person. And as we've seen here in Victoria, snap lockdowns change things really quickly. Last week, Helen, we were talking about this, and I just happened to, come to your office on Friday just after they'd announced, and it was like, oh my God, we're just flipping everything back online again, but nothing changed. Do you know what I mean? Like, none of your clients cancelled or stopped, or it continued on. So I think there's two amazing opportunities here. One is to get incredible results and go really deep with your clients, which really is about adding something to your existing portfolio or qualifications or what you do, right? And the other opportunity here is that regardless of what's happening in the environment, you're sort of future-proofing your business. You're going to be able to, be able to have your clients online and still get amazing results for them. And I think that's, one of the things I love about it.
Absolutely. And the thing is with us, Marcus, here at HypnoFit, we've got 5 clinics, one in Melbourne, 2 in Sydney, 1 in Brisbane, 1 in Auckland, and 1 in the United States. We're going to have way more moving forward. That what we found was that initially, you know, people traveled to come here face to face, but since we pivoted the business, now people are choosing. So people are choosing, yes, I prefer face to face, but some are choosing to stay online because they're saving themselves the travel. You know, Christian, who works here at HypnoFit, he was seeing a client who was literally sitting on a tractor in the middle of Queensland, okay, as he was hypnotizing him. He stopped his tractor and that's how he did his session. So obviously this is a client that we would normally not have had. So we are seeing people from everywhere. We've had clients from Italy, from everywhere. My USA HypnoFit clinic, which is in North Carolina, is 100% online because that's the way that Sharon chooses to work, 100% online. So she doesn't do any face-to-face. So people are finding that they're saving money on clinic costs as well. And it just broadens the possibilities. So let's open up the floor. What questions have you got for us? Anything at all?
All right. You can either place it in the chat or we can unmute.
And honestly, I'll just say one more thing about that price. Like, the only reason I'm offering that price is because I've partnered with Marcus, and it's almost like let's just keep it at this price. But it's obviously for a 3-day certification. It is, you know, it's not the price it's going to stay. It's not going to stay for the next time.
Penny asks, can we get the 597 for the June dates?
Yes.
The link is only for the Feb dates. So that link is just going straight to the Feb dates. But yes, you can, is the short answer.
So all you need to do is email me now, and I'll make sure that I'll get my team to give you that price. So
what we could do is we could link through to that. You could buy it at that price, and then we'll just note it in the back end and get you all the onboarding for June. That's probably one of the for the later dates.
It would probably be easier if you, because then that flow will start. So as long as you send me an email today, helen@hypnofit.com.au or helen@helenmitas.com. I'll just put it here helen@hypnofit.com.au. Okay, just send me an email if you want to do the June date, and I'll make sure that you get the discount code today, because today is the only date that's available.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So Gary said, you've applied a technique, they go off, they come back and claim it didn't work. I drank again. Now what? I'm pretty sure I did all the steps, induction, deep anchoring, etc. What do I suppose it's what do I do after that?
Okay, so one thing you've got to, it's all about a process and expectations. Okay, so first of all, there's a lot of things that we do in terms of the pre-talk to set the expectations. How much do they want it? How much do they want? And what is the reasons as to why they want to stop? And what do we need to do so that they stop? Because Gary, you came to my other workshop. Not every customer is the same. Not every client is the same. So not every client will have a cookie cutter approach. So if you have the same thing that you're doing to every client, you're not going to get the same result. Does that client have emotional stuff that we need to deal with first? Okay, then we need to deal with the emotional stuff. What's going on for the client? What's the belief that that client has about smoking or drinking? So we need to get rid of the belief first. So what is it about that client? So to answer that question, you need to find out exactly what that client needs. Having said that, you are not 100% responsible for their outcome. The responsibility lies with the client, and you have to frame your sessions in such a way so that they know that they are responsible. And there's a lot of talk that we do and pre-talk that sets them up with the mindset of that they are responsible. And really getting to their why. Why do they want to stop this in the first place? What is holding them back? Playing into their whys. I mean, something we do here at HypnoFit, which Christian is an absolute master at, is what we call the death scene. So for smokers, we take them to that point, and yes, it's horrific, but I tell you what, they don't want to smoke again. And it would be more horrific if it played out in their real life. So that's another thing we do, which I didn't mention earlier. There's many techniques, which is an aversion technique. We give them an aversion to that habit, to that activity. What other questions do we have?
Yes, other questions. Here we go. Penny, if you don't have any training or qualifications in hypnotherapy, counselling only for me at this stage, does the certificate want to allow you to register with AHA as a member, or is it a PD points only and we need to do other training elsewhere to achieve membership?
Good question.
Great question.
It is CPT points, so it allows you to register as a student hypnotherapist, because to register as a fully fledged hypnotherapist, you have to do a diploma course, which has got OHS and a whole heap of other things as well. But it certainly gives you CPD points and allows you to register as a student hypnotherapist with the AHA. So all my courses, every single course that I've got, including my business courses, including my mentoring, are all accepted with the AHA as CPD points, every single thing. Even this session.
Okay. All right, other questions? Other questions, anybody?
There's no silly question, guys. It could be about anything. Right. Yes, Louise.
I've got to give a proposal to a very large organisation, and it's a cultural change that they want. They've got some staff that have been doing what they have to do to get their KPIs, but not above and beyond, and they're not seeing the big picture. And I'd like to get into their headspace, and so that they really see how what they do impacts people further down the line rather than just doing their job. And it occurred to me that some kind of group hypnosis thing might help. I want to get their mindset so that they're thinking excellent customer service far more than what their job requires them to do. They can get away with things, but what I want them to do is to think of the consequences to the organisation and the rest of the team if they carry on like that. Is there anything that you think might be worth playing around with?
Yes, and so as part of the course, you know, one of the things that I teach you is how to future pace clients, and how to create powerful visualizations. And so that's something that I would imagine that you would, you know, that's like a given. You know, a powerful visualization is every retreat that I do it with every retreat that I do. You know, not only do I teach you how to do it, but I do it for we do it for you as well. So you're actually doing it for yourself. So you see yourself in the future. I mean, you know, that is something that has to be part of our daily rituals for ourselves. I know I do it, which is, you know, me and my partner do it on a daily basis, which is, you know, put ourselves in the future and feel all the feelings of, you know, everything we possibly could want. And then we attract that to ourselves because we're feeling it as if it's happening right now. And we're attracting that energy to us. And so that's what I would recommend in that scenario. And of course, you would teach them in a way that they would do it themselves at home and as part of their ritual. There's so many things you could do at a group level. I used to do a monthly group session at my local gym. And there's so many things you could do, And group sessions are really great because the energy of the group is really felt. And everybody sort of gets into that feeling. And whether you do it online, whether you do it face to face, it's the same effect. Okay, so Julie's saying, do you find the dual headphones work well? If so, where do you purchase them from? So Julie, I would suggest that you go into, I've got a group called Hypnosis Business Success on Facebook. And Hypnosis Business Success, I've got 3,400 hypnotherapists on there. If you go in the search bar and put headphones, that question's been asked, I don't know, 200 times. and I've answered that question over and over again. So all you got to do, go to Hypnosis Business Success on Facebook, put headphones in the search bar, and you will get the answer. Tony's saying, can you get a recording of today's presentation? Yes, you can.
Yep. That was easy.
So Tony, all you need to do is send an email to Sarah@hypnofit and ask for it. Sarah@hypnofit.com.au. That's my assistant, and she will send it to you.
Excellent, Tony. Any other questions, thoughts, ideas, feelings? Did you see Deborah's thing? Hi, I booked a 5-day seminar. Yeah.
No, so you, Deborah, did the advanced course. So you did the advanced course. This is before then. So the reason that we did this is because I found that there were some people in the advanced course that even though they had done level 1 elsewhere, they actually didn't know how to hypnotize. So that's why I've created my own level 1 certification. Yeah, so that's not part of the 5-day course. This is completely different.
Yeah. Beatrice asked hours. Times.
Hours will be 8:30 to 5. Day 2 and 3, we actually start at 8. So that day 3 we can finish a little bit earlier because everyone's exhausted by day 3. so day 3, the aim is to finish around the 4 o'clock mark.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Deborah.
That's Melbourne time, AEDT time.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, and that means it is a bit early for Perth, but we've had Perth people before. That means they just got to go to bed earlier.
They get back some of their afternoon.
Okay, so I hope that's been useful, guys, and you have a better understanding of what hypnotherapy is. Really, in terms of the price, in my mind, it's ridiculous. And that's why this is the last time we're offering it. So when you see that we're going to do an event like this again in the future,
thanks, Tony.
That price won't be this price. So this is an opportunity to do it in February or to do it in June. And it is the last opportunity that we're offering at this level to get hypnotherapy certification. The support you get is phenomenal. You get a book that's like, 120 pages with all the scripts and everything that you need. And everything is there for you. Okay. All right.
Perfect. Excellent.
So if we don't have any more questions,
that's it.
Thank you so much for coming and enjoy the rest of your day, guys.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, guys. Go anchor. Go stay anchored.
Anchor.
Yeah, that's it. Absolutely. Thanks, guys.